G'day and welcome back to Two Pagans in Boston. In today's UNESCO video we are visiting St Kilda, located in Scotland, United Kingdom. Inscribed by UNESCO back in 1986, and I had the pleasure of visiting on July the 22nd of 2026. In visiting St Kilda, I utilised the service of a local company at St Kilda Sea Tours. They launched from Leverborough on South Harris in the Outer Hebrides. It's a full day, leaving at 8 o'clock in the morning and returning about 7 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm certainly not sponsored by St Kilda Sea Tours in any shape or form, but I do want to shout out to the captain, his young son and his first mate Archie. It was a wonderful day. We thought it was going to be a rainy, drizzly day. It was the start and the end, but certainly the day on the whole island. It was a wonderful experience, and I would certainly recommend their services. Visiting St Kilda was a dream come true. It's one of those UNESCO locations that's very remote and not many people get the opportunity to visit. So I was very lucky to visit when I had the opportunity in July. So why is St Kilda inscribed by UNESCO? One of the main reasons is its natural beauty. It supports significant natural habitats, is unique in the very high bird densities that occur in a relatively small area, which is conditioned by the complex and different ecological niches existing in the site. There is also a complex ecological dynamic in the 3 marine zones, which is present in the site that is essential to the maintenance of both marine and terrestrial biodiversity. The other part of this is the cultural landscape of St Kilda. It is an outstanding example of land use resulting from a type of subsistence economy based on the products of birds, agriculture and sheep, reflecting the age-old conditions. The built structures of field systems, the cleats and the traditional stone houses of the highlands bear testimony to over 2 millennia of human occupation of distant land use in extreme conditions. St Kilda itself is also a very rare site in that it's been inscribed for both its cultural and its natural significance to the world. Out of the 35 inscribed sites across the United Kingdom, it is the only one. And out of the 1,273 sites across the world, there is only 42 mixed sites of cultural and natural significance. So it certainly is a beautiful place in the world. There is archaeological evidence of habitation from over 2,000 years ago, concentrated at Village Bay and Glenmore, including evidence of Bronze Age occupation and Viking visits. Important changes came in the 19th century, when most of the earlier structures and residential buildings were replaced with new. The church is a relatively plain 2-bay oblong structure built in 1826, a schoolroom being added on the northwest side in 1898. As a result of several outside influences, including religious missionaries, a devastating outbreak of smallpox, and tourism, the islands were finally evacuated in 1930. The most common traditional structure on St Kilda is the cleat, of which there are about 1,260 which have been recorded on Outer Island, distributed all over, and more than 170 others have been recorded on outlying islands and stacks within the archipelago. Cleats are small dry stone structures, round-ended form with dry stone walls and a roof of slabs covered with earth and turf. Within this basic plan are numerous variations of door position, and examples even include interior adjoining cells. Cleats were usually used to store materials, and their generally open wall construction was designed to allow a through flow of air. They were used to store birds, eggs and feathers, and harvested crops, as well as peat and turf, which were both used as fuel. So where does the name St Kilda come from? Well, apparently opinions differ greatly, but the most widely accepted theory is a simple translation error. The first settlers of the island were Norse, and some histories show the name of the island is recorded as Skildir, an Old Norse word meaning shield. This has been misrecorded on a Dutch map from about 1583, which is the name as Skilda. These same charts were revised and updated by the Dutch government in 1592, with Skilda now being misrecorded as S. Kilda. As the Dutch were among the foremost seafarers of this time period, many other countries would base their own official charts on those of the Dutch. British chart makers who used this 1592 map as the basis for their own work simply assumed that S. Kilda was an abbreviation of St Kilda, and recorded as such themselves. The Soay sheep are a rare primitive breed of domesticated sheep native to the island of Soay in Scotland's remote St Kilda Archipelago. They are the oldest surviving sheep types within the British Isles, predating Roman and Norse introductions. Both rams and ewes may be horned, with rams typically exhibiting larger curved horns, and the breed lacks a strong flocking instinct, often scattering when herded. The world's core population of Soay sheep are located on Outer Island in St Kilda as a feral herd. Their numbers fluctuate, but generally exceed 1,800 individuals as of September 2025. Some other very interesting history surrounding St Kilda itself is Lady Grange was the wife of James Erskine, a wealthy 18th century Scottish lord and barrister. In 1732, the good lady discovered papers that showed her husband was involved in a plot to overthrow the British monarchy. The plot was part of an ultimately failed coup to install Scottish heir Bonnie Prince Charlie on the British throne. Outraged by this treacherous behaviour, Lady Grange immediately determined to reveal her husband's activities. But Erskine was alerted to his wife's manoeuvre and struck first. She was abducted at her husband's order and taken initially to an isolated castle that he owned in northern Scotland. She was then interned in a private mental hospital before being moved to St Kilda Islands in 1735. She was imprisoned in one of the most isolated spots on earth. The noblewoman endured years of degrading treatment, living alone in a stone dwelling with an earthen floor among a small local population who spoke no English and suffered poor health due to the island's harsh climate and lifestyle. She remained on Herta in St Kilda until about 1740, when she finally able to smuggle a message to her supporters on the mainland begging for a rescue. An armed rescue party was raised, but by the time it reached Herta, Lady Grange had been removed and taken elsewhere. She died still in her husband's captivity in 1745. The archipelago of St Kilda, the remotest part of the British Isles in Scotland's Outer Hebrides, is the remains of a tertiary ring volcano, weathered and glaciated to produce dramatic precipitous cliffs. Two stacks adjoining Borray, one of the islands within the archipelago, are the highest in the country. Stack An Amin stands at 191 metres and Stack Lee stands at 165 metres. St Kilda is one of the major sites in the North Atlantic and Europe for seabirds, with over 1 million birds using the island. It is particularly important for gannets, puffins and fulmars. The maritime grassland turf and underwater habitats are also significant and an integral element of the total island setting. We hope you've enjoyed this short video of our visit to St Kilda in Scotland, United Kingdom. If you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe, and we hope to see you at the next UNESCO site in the very near future.